Hello, and welcome back to Bay Area Housewife of True Crime. We are at part 8 of the Zephany nurse case. As a reminder, topics may be triggering. Viewer and listener discretion is very strongly advised. The people mentioned are innocent until proven guilty in court. Michelle doesn't have hospital pictures of her birth in her baby album. Quote, "Nobody was there to take pictures. I know my dad was working, but I did find it strange that nobody even went with her when she was in labor. You'd want support at a time like that. I felt sad for her," end quote. Michelle describes her steel parents as the mom and dad to many of her friends and family. In the book, she says, quote, "Even in prison, people call my mother mommy, and when they come greet her, it's good to know that she has that motherly instinct even in there," end quote. The Solomons were very nurturing. Michelle grew up in a stable home where she never saw her parents argue. Michelle was spoiled, as all she had to do was keep up with her schoolwork. Her mom took care of the house and sewed dresses for Michelle and the community while her dad worked. Michelle grew up with what she believed was her half-sister, Michael's older daughter from a previous relationship. Now that we all know the truth, the half-sister is most likely Michael's only biological child. In her book, she says, quote, "My daddy told me that she had also had previous miscarriages. It was always a concern if it should happen to me one day. I would even question her, 'You had difficulties having children. Could it happen to me?' I remember she told me that I probably would have difficulties having children because these things could be genetic," end quote. This would turn out to be a lie, not only because she was not biologically related to Lavana, therefore it could not genetically have been passed on to her, but Michelle had no trouble conceiving her own children when the time came. The Solomons had a good relationship, but that was not always that way. Michelle does remember a time in her childhood when things were rocky, when her steel dad would drink. This all changed when little Michelle was hit with meningitis. Michael promised God that if he would stop drinking if he cured Michelle from meningitis. Michelle was cured and Michael stopped drinking and things were all fine and dandy. Michelle didn't know much about Lavana's past, but one day after the truth came out, while going through Lavana's drawers to clear up some space after she was gone, she found an envelope with paperwork. It revealed that Lavana was once married before to an abusive husband who raped her and shocked her with electrical wires as she slept. All of these hardships did not stop Queen Michelle Zephany from slaying in life. She did an internship with the state social work department and did a 6-month probation officer course. Being a kidnapped victim has shaped Zephany, and to this day she works with various organizations, one in particular called Remarkable, where they offer various outreach for various families, women in particular with various backgrounds. They offer counseling, feeding, and educational support, among other things, and to people in similar situations. She continues to work with nonprofit organizations, and as of late, she's working in accounting. As you can imagine, all this trauma has led Zephany to be extremely overprotective over her 2 children, Sophia and Mateo. Zephany Michelle went on to meet 32-year-old Justin Shelton, a teacher at church. On March 23rd of 2023, 26-year-old Michelle Zephany nurse Sheldon was married to Justin Sheldon Jr. Both of her dads walked her down the aisle. Michael, the man who raised her, and Mornay, her biological father. These days, Celeste seems to be a devoted Seventh-day Adventist. I have covered tons of SDA-related cases if you're interested in going down that rabbit hole with me. Here is a list of all the SDA-related cases I've covered. You can find full episodes of these recordings on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and YouTube at Bay Area Housewife of True Crime. These are all the cases, and more to come, of course, and the ones in bold are specifically child essay. In August of 2023, Lavana Solomon was granted parole and was released from prison. Can you believe it? As of this recording, the baby snatcher who stole Zephany's life is a free woman. Lavana went back to sewing as a machinist in her community in Seawind, South Africa. Sewing is something she did for Zephany. She sewed her many dresses. According to Candice Van Reeneen, the communications officer for the South African Department of Correctional Services, Lavana was part of a rehabilitation program that she is part of a rehabilitation program that she has to attend habitually. And quote, Lavana Solomon has been on parole since August 18th of 2023 and is complying with a set of conditions as determined by the Community Corrections Office. She continues to receive support from social work services. Solomon will remain a parolee until August of 2026, end quote. According to a close friend in a March 2024 interview with the Weekend Argus, quote, she has integrated well back into the community. It was like she never left. She does sewing for the community and makes clothing garments for people, end quote. Since her release, it was disclosed that Michael, Lavana's husband, had started a new relationship with another woman and had served Lavana divorce papers while she was still in prison. Lavana's terms of parole include that her movement is restricted to her magisterial district, is not allowed to change her address without permission. She is prohibited from using drugs and alcohol, must not commit any more crimes, and cannot engage with the media. Lavana Solomon only served 7 years of her 10-year sentence. Ahead of Lavana's release from prison, Miche moved out of the Solomon home where she grew up. Michael had also already moved out of the family home. Despite of the despicable, unforgivable thing Lavana did, she had a lot of supporters. In an August 2023 article with the Daily Voice, a friend and neighbor named Rachel Waterloo said that the community holds no grudge against her. Quote, what she did, we all make mistakes, but God knows our hearts. She has always been a good-natured person. She was a very blessed woman, end quote. Of course, and rightfully so, the nurses sought legal action against the hospital. And in a June 2001 article by the Johannesburg, South Africa Sunday Times stated that the nurses were awarded 150,000 rand for 4 years after their baby was abducted from Cape Town's Groupshire maternity ward. 150,000 rand was approximately $9,000 at the time. Calculated for inflation, that would be approximately $16,000 today. They settled out of court with the Western Cape Health Department in compensation for their pain and suffering. Dr. David Bass, the medical legal advisor for the hospital, stated that in light of the chaos that unfolded under their watch, the hospital was to continue to review its security. Quote, now that the settlement has been reached, we will again look at security measures. So we must remember that in this incident, a woman came into the hospital with the clear intention of stealing a baby. It is unlikely that she was just a chance. She pulled the wool over the eyes of a trusting mother in a mastery ward. It is hard to restrict access to the patients, and we will do as much as possible to keep it secure while making people feel comfortable. The vast majority of people are there to share a joyous occasion, and we have to keep the hospital user-friendly and not looking like a concentration camp, end quote. I'm pregnant now with my second baby, and this case is making me want to get an Apple AirTag just in case and place it on my newborn when the time comes. We reached the end of today's episode of Bay Area Housewife of True Crime. Thank you so much for coming down the rabbit hole where I currently live. As always, I respect and accept your opinions, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Adios.